It's finally here, race day of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. We've waited a long time for this moment. We've had ups and downs, but we're finally here. Fiumicino is the venue, but the XCAT pilots and their throttlemen are the real stars of the show. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we're going to bring you what is the single best show on water. We've got 7 XCAT boats heading out into the bay in the next 10 or so minutes, so please make sure that you do join us for that. But just in case you missed what happened yesterday in the very first pole position race of the year, we're going to bring you some highlights of what happened in pole position 1. Welcome to the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championships, where we've had the very first pole position race of the year. All the boats have gone out to decide who will finish top of the tree and take an advantage into race number 1.
We're working properly, so I hope remain the same for all the weekend.
Podium as the boys of console brokers are celebrating. I think they might be celebrating the fact that Napoli are going to be winning the Scudetto today, barring any surprises. But we're not here to talk about football, we are here to talk about XCAT. So we've got a very busy pontoon. We have boats coming, going, still currently being put on the water. But welcome to the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship, where the very first race of the season is about to take place. We have 7 boats that are going to be making their way out of the harbour at a very leisurely 5 knots and heading into the race circuit, something that we will talk about at length across the 17 laps out on the water. So join me as I take you up this pontoon and just give you a little guide as to who is who, what is what, a little bit of the behind the scenes, the reality of what happens here at the beginning of an XCAT race. So you can see plenty of action at the back here. You can see HPI, High Performance Italia Racing, and they are, well, they had not a bad pole position race. They are starting in 5th place and heading on to the opening race of the season, full of confidence. They had a bit disappointed. We spoke to them in the morning about pole position and how they got on, but they could have done better. But as you can see, they're in pretty good spirits. 2 brothers there guiding the boat, throttleman and pilot, and their father, of course, is the head of the team. And then beside them is Team Rahib, Q8 Oils written on the side there. A lovely play on words, as Q8 being the country and also the where they come from, which is lovely. So we're going to head down the pontoon, hopefully grab some of the pilots and some of the throttlemen to have a bit of a chat about how they're feeling and how they essentially think they're going to get through the process. I'm just looking out for my cameraman there, who is definitely going to fall over by the end of this, but don't worry, he's fully insured. It doesn't matter. We love you dearly. Don't worry about it. So let's see. Now you can see the pilot of Console Brokers just hanging in there, fixing something. The very well-known Luca Betti, who is a driver of cars ordinarily. This is a chap that has made his name in World Rally and is taking to the water after several outings already, actually, in the XCAT Championship. He says that there are similarities between a rally car and an XCAT, the fact that they both have a steering wheel. And then Alfredo Amato there, who is lends himself to quite a few different things. He's a busy man, but he is lending himself back to the championship, where he has a long career and an awful lot of experience. He doesn't look old enough, but he did start in the 90s, and he is a very proud Neapolitan, which is why we heard the team celebrating Napoli earlier on. So we're going to move down the grid once it's safe to do so. There is literally 222 offshore being hoisted into the water there. 222 offshore are our pole sitters for the very first race of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. They had a wonderful run in pole position, and you know, they're a fairly relaxed pair, Darren Nicholson and Giovanni Carpitella, who race this boat, and they've got a very nice new partner there on the side, Rocco Barocco, the fashion partners, which is why you see the team looking so good. And hopefully we'll catch them as they walk down the pontoon, and they can give us their thoughts before they head out to the first race. Now, the conditions, it is actually quite bright. This is why I'm having to wear the sunglasses, but it's a little bit chilly. We've got, we're going to move slightly further back so we don't get taken out by the crane, although presenters are completely expendable, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But changeables are, conditions are somewhat changeable. The water out there in the bay is a little choppier, in fact, and it does mean that qualifying and the race conditions might be ever so similar. Let's see if we can quickly have a word with Nadir. Nadir, very, very quickly. How are you feeling ahead of the first race of the year?
Great, happy to be here, excited to race, good competition, and hope for everyone to do a good race and safe race.
So you're starting in second position. Think you can go one better in the race?
We're going to push, we're not going to leave it like this. We're going to look for number one every time.
There you go, good luck. Good luck, guys. Nadir and Arif there, the legends. Formerly known, of course, as Dubai Police in a previous guise, as they completed their championship winning season of 2021. They now have Faza across the side. It's a lovely new livery in a very, very competitive XCAT. And new race suits as well, which I must say look very, very smart. So we're going to make our way. Who have they moved there? 222 offshore have been moved alongside the Faza boat there, who, as I say, that's first and second sat next to each other. And we're going to move gradually down because there's a number of chaps that I would quite like to have a word with. And the best way to catch a driver and the best way to catch a throttleman is to stand somewhere near the steps. So we've got first, where are we? First, second, and then in third was Consul Brokers, who we chatted to earlier, which is just it's very changeable. We'll see how it goes. And I don't know if you can see the pace cat going out behind me. So the pace cat, that is where the flags will be shown. So in a moment, we're going to have the white flag waved, which will give the drivers and the throttlemen, the crews, 10 minutes to go from kind of the paddock area, the crate that everybody essentially lives out during this time. The entire championship is packed into crates to move around the world, which is what makes it so so sustainable, so much cheaper than, say, other championships. And they've got to move down from that paddock area when the white flag goes and head down. Then they're given a green flag and away they go. Luca, quick word? Yeah, there we go. So, Luca, you're going to head out there, third place. How are you feeling ahead of the first race of the season?
Oh, I think it's a good point to start for this season for sure. 2 or 3 boats behind us are quite fast, so we have to keep the position and maybe try to gain something, but we will see on the sea what's happened.
What do you think about the conditions? Little windy, little choppy?
Well, this morning we have a wreck. It was quite long waves, and then when we exited with the pace boat to check the starting line, it was completely calm. So I don't know how is the situation now, but in any case we have to be ready.
Perfect. Luca, very good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
All the best. Luca Betti there of Consul Brokers. They're currently starting in third position. As I said earlier, more used to a rally car than an XCAT, but they've been very quick, very consistent, and as you can tell there, he is very, very confident indeed. So as we wait for the white flag to be waved, you can see a serious amount of activity starting to happen. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Make sure you tell us how you're feeling about this year's championship. Seba? No, that was Sebastian Grotta there. He is the pilot of the XCAT racing team. XCAT, who are starting in 4th position today. They had a decent pole position, you know. They did okay. They would have been hoping to go slightly higher up the table. Everybody went out this morning, incidentally, for official practice. And times that were being posted in official practice this morning were actually considerably quicker in certain quarters compared to what we saw in the pole position racing and official practice yesterday. So we are expecting quite a quick race. We are expecting quite close action. And as you can see them getting ready there with the HANDS device. So if you're familiar with motorsport in general, the HANDS device is essentially slung over the shoulders, put around the back, and it is designed to stop your neck jarring in the event of an accident. So the helmet will go onto the pilot and to the throttleman's head, which is where helmets live, and then they connect it to the HANDS device there, so that in the event that the boat suddenly stops, flips, changes direction, they will protect their neck, because it's not just a case of protecting the head. Crikey, there's the whistle. The white flag has been raised, which means drivers now have a 10-minute window to get any last-minute advice before they head into the boat, have a biscuit, have a tea, whatever they fancy, maybe a coffee. We are in Italy after all. Fiumicino. We found a lovely coffee shop round the corner from the Porto di Fiumicino, which I highly recommend. And Team GB have been avoiding me all day, and he's going to try and avoid me again. And did he? Martin, how you feeling, mate?
Yeah, feeling great. A little bit nervous as we always do in the race, but no, feeling good. Unfortunately, we're starting on the outside, so our breakdown yesterday. But let's see how we go. Hopefully, the water's rough, so we can make some pace.
You did a great job turning around the repair as quickly as you did, and you were posting some great times this morning in practice. So you must be, albeit nervous, slightly confident, I imagine.
You're never confident until the race has ended, but we're going to see where we get on this, and obviously, fingers crossed, we come across the finishing line.
Amazing. Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
All the best. Team GB. Tried to avoid me all day, but I got him in the end, which is all that really matters. But as he said there, they had a bit of a problem yesterday. They are starting at the back of the group today. It turns out that they had a gearing issue yesterday. A gear line snapped. A gear link, rather, sorry, snapped completely. They lost a propeller, and that kind of spells the end for an XCAT catamaran. To be honest with you, if you haven't got enough propellers, you're not going to go quick enough to make it count. But the boat is in fine form. They've repaired it, quick turnaround. It's a small paddock. Everybody looks out for each other. Everybody helps each other, and so everybody clubs together to make sure that that everybody can get out and race. Essentially, it's definitely a family feel as they head out. So, albeit massively competitive, they are fundamentally in the same boat as each other, if you'll excuse the pun. So they do have to look out for each other. So Team GB there, they were actually one of the fastest, if not the fastest in official practice this morning. They were posting sub 3-minute laps. To give you an idea, that would have comfortably put them on pole position during the pole position race yesterday. And that's a crying shame for them, but I'm sure they'll make up places. And there you see Martin, the pilot there, his helmet being connected to that hands device that I was talking about earlier, because although we enjoy racing and we enjoy the thrill of the speed, and I hope you join us for the entire race today and give us your thoughts on what you're watching, safety is paramount. That is the single most important thing of any sport, but particularly with a sport like powerboats. So there we see the final preparations for Faza as Nadira bin Hendi and Adi Fatavain get strapped into their UIM president and a massive fan of this competition, as you can imagine. Never very rarely misses a race. And just to boot, remember, this is a spectator sport. It's a fantastic thing to watch, so thank you very much for watching with us. I hope you're excited, as I am, as we head out. And tell us what you think. Leave us a comment, follow us on the XCAT World Championship social media pages, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. And we are now counting down to the boats leaving the pontoon. And if you're wondering what you're looking at in the background, this is the lovely area of Fiumicino, just west of Rome on the coast. And it is the location of Leonardo da Vinci Airport, which is the busiest airport in Italy, and the 11th busiest in Europe. So there you go, something you might not have known there. And that's why you can possibly see in the background throughout today's race, you'll see planes coming and going. And that'll be why, because we are but a stone's throw from Italy's busiest airport. Anyway, that doesn't matter, because we're here to talk about XCAT and the very, very first race of the year. I'm extraordinarily excited. You can see the Pace Cat heading out just over there. And so the Pace Cat is heading out, it's actually reversing, quite the skill there. Reversing down this tributary of the River Tiber out into the bay where the race will take place. Now the Pace Cat's actually quite important. Not only does it look incredible, which fair enough, is half the battle, but it performs a very, very busy and important job. It is from the Pace Cat that the race will be started. We will talk about this at length in the commentary booth when we hand over in the shortness of time, but the Pace Cat leads the pack throughout what will happen first, which is a procession lap, so that people that are watching from the beats, people that are watching from the sidelines can get a good idea of what the boats look like and get excited about the whole event. But it performs a much more official duty than that. On board is the race director, a couple of UIM officials, and Pasquale, who's one of the main organisers and drivers behind the XCAT World Championship. That is the boat that will give the flag for go. So it will lead this pack of 800 horsepower monsters out and around the race circuit. And it is that boat and those gentlemen on that boat that each and every one of the crews here will be keeping their eyes fixed. And it really is quite the sight to behold. And it won't be long now before we get to see that, as the hatches are going to start coming down shortly. They're going to leave it to the last minute. Like I say, when the white flag was shown, they get 10 minutes to get themselves in, strapped in, and they're going to use every single one of those minutes to make sure that they are, first of all, comfortable, well, actually, first of all, safe, and second of all, comfortable, and do any kind of last-minute checks, any last-minute radio checks. I'll tell you what, you've got to have your head on the swivel here just to make sure that you don't miss anything. And get ready to go out, because once that timing goes, when that time, and we've just been told through my little earpiece from my co-commentator John, who you will speak to in a moment, we've got 2 minutes until the boats have to leave the pontoon. So the Pace Cat is ready. They're going to lead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boats out. Wonderful. We have every single last one of the boats. Dr. Cooley.
This is the nicest moment of just before the race, when you see all the racers, you know, their emotion, they're a little bit stressed, of course, but it's a lovely moment, and for me it's a great emotion as well to be here and to accompany them to have a great event, great race.
Big question: are you allowed to have a favourite?
Sorry, say it again.
Are you allowed to have a favourite, or do you like them all equally?
That's a tough question. Allow me not to answer.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Thank you very much for joining us. I think they look great this year. It's going to be a great first race. And last one, and I'll let you enjoy it. How lovely is Fiumicino as a place?
Well, Fiumicino is great. It's well known because of the airport, but as you see, there is not just the airport. You have thousands of passionate people about our sport. So I think it's great to be here, and I've heard all the teams, they are happy to be here. So let's have a great start of the 2023 XCAT World Championship here in Fiumicino.
Wonderful. Dr. Cooley, enjoy it. Have a great time. And there we go.
Thank you.
Great timing as always, sir. Have a great race. Dr. Raffaele Cooley there of the UIM president, and he loves it. It's one thing working in the environment, and it's another thing loving what you do, and that is a gentleman that loves what he does, believe you me. So now you can hear the engines are starting. That's 2 Mercury ROS. So that was just me pointing to my cameraman there because he was about to take a lunch. 2 Mercury ROS racing engines, 400 brake horsepower apiece. They rev to between 6,500 and 12,000 RPM. That is an awful lot of revolutions per minute, and they can back wet as it happens, as is my camera chap, but he's a pro. He doesn't mind. And I can
alongside Shu, will be keeping you company for the first race of the season. With the first pole position race in the books as of yesterday, we are very excited for the first race of the 2023 season. All the teams are currently heading out to the water. We see Team XCAT in the front, followed by Console Brokers, and High Performance Italia in the back. We have Team GB and Q8 Oils also preparing. Q8 Oils helmed by Abdulatif Alomani and Badir Al-Dusri, and Team GB by Scott Williams and Martin Campbell. They clocked in quite a fast lap in the practice run of today, so let's see if they can pull something off today. So the green flag is out. The teams will be heading to the starting position. Team XCAT in the lovely orange, helmed by Sebastian Groth and Sven Jansson. one of the youngest teams in the championship. Sebastian is only 27 years old, the youngest driver on the paddock, but definitely what he lacks in age, he definitely makes up in speed. Team manager, Josephine Dubois. She was actually appointed as a team manager back in 2018 at 21 years of age. So that's the youngest person to have ever managed an XCAT racing team. So for today, we'll be having a starting lap of totaling 4.15 nautical miles. Basically just a lap for the drivers to get up and running, get into the zone, followed by a total nautical miles and two long laps of totaling 4 nautical miles. The total length of the course will be 57.65 nautical miles. Total race course, 1 start lap, 13 race laps and 2 long laps. And I'm joined by the lovely Stuart Porro in the commentators box.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, Mr. Porro.
How are you doing?
Very well, how are you?
I'm very well, and you know why I'm very well? The first race of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship is about to start. This is the moment we've been waiting for, and I can't even express to you how excited I am by the reality that is about to come true in front of all of us.
Absolutely. Also, UIM President Dr. Raffaele Chiuli also seemed pretty excited that this is going to get going.
He did. It's always a real pleasure chatting with Dr. Raffaele Chiuli. He is obviously has a lot of official duties to attend, but I think first and foremost, not only is he a great advert for the sport, but he is also a fan. And so it makes talking to him a delight, if I'm honest with you. Every time you speak to him, it's like he's just rediscovered the sport, which is wonderful.
You are quite right. So the teams are making way into the starting positions. So the rankings following pole position 1, we have in first position 222 offshore with Giovanni Carpitella and Darren Nicholson. In second place, Team Faza, helmed by Arif Al-Zafain and Nadir bin Hendi, also known as either Dubai Police or the Legends. Some big power boating pedigree in that cockpit. In third position, we have Team Console Brokers, helmed by Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti, who also you had the pleasure to see him interviewed by Stu. In fourth position, Team XCAT, helmed by Sebastian Groth and Sven Jansson. In fifth place, HPI Racing Team with Rosario Schiano Di Cola and Giuseppe Schiano Di Cola. Sixth place, Q8 Oils with Abdulatif Alomani and Badir Al Dusari. And yeah, we're good to go, eh?
Yeah, so this is, thank you very much for a wonderful rundown, by the way. That was very well done. Couldn't have done it better myself, which is why I didn't. So the boats will go on almost a parade lap now, as they head around this beautiful circuit that you have described equally as well. And there are a number of reasons for this, as I'm sure you've mentioned. First of all, it's about warming up the engines. And as you're watching now, you will see the Pace Cat. Now, we spoke about the Pace Cat at the pond too, with good reason. It's one of the single most important boats on the water right now. And those people know it.
Yep. So basically the Pace Cat, all the boats have to follow it. The boats have to line up side by side in preparation for the start. Now, obviously in pole position order. When the Pace Cat boat decides that their positions are satisfactory, the flag will go up and the start procedure begins and we're good to go.
Here's a question. What if the start procedure has been compromised in some way?
Restarting of the starting procedure, eh?
Yeah. So they'll do another lap and get the boats in line, and they'll take one of those laps off the total, I believe. So do you know what? When you look at it on the screen, as I hope you are watching at home, and a little reminder if you're watching at home, tell us what you think. What do you think so far? But we had pole position racing yesterday, and they go out one by one. But when they go out together for the race, it really is a completely different sight, sound and feeling. And those team members and team managers, as we see there, they must be nervous right now.
Yeah, and we see the team for Team GB, team manager helmed by Shelley Joy Lee, a very experienced powerboat driver herself.
That she is, and actually you'll find a lot of the team managers and the support teams around the crews and the pilots and the throttlemen. You'll find that they have all got a very solid pedigree by and large of the sport. Now this is the part where we are transfixed by the pace cat. We are absolutely obsessed. It's borderline dangerous how obsessed we are with the pace cat at this point of a race, because it is entirely down to the crew of that pace cat as to when we start the race. And you can see they're all lining up there. They're all getting ready to go. They're going to be jostling for position a little bit. We can see first, second and third. So on your far left, you've got 222 Offshore, who are starting in first place. Next to them you have Fazza, the legends from Dubai, who are ready to go. And is that a yellow flag? We're a bit far, and you can see the rooster tails there. They've absolutely kicked their engines up. This could be the start.
So we're good to go. You can hear Pasquale shouting down the intercoms. We have a green flag and we're off racing.
Here we go. This is the first race of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Champion, and it's Fazza that seemed to have taken an early advantage, but 222 Offshore are clawing them back in.
Ooh, it's a tight one.
We couldn't have started this championship in any more exciting fashion. They are neck and neck. Fazza have taken the lead ever so slightly again when we've got the first turn, left-hand turn coming up at this point. This is going to tell what's going to happen. And they have just turned into each other. 222 Offshore and Fazza look like they may have had a coming together there. Their hulls may have touched as they came around the first set of buoys. But they've all spread out a little bit now. They've all started to find their lane, and it's a two-pronged start session essentially. So the front three have managed to take that early advantage, but they're still neck and neck. We have just hidden by the spray there of 222 Offshore, recognisable by the Rocco Barocco on the side, just ahead of Fazza, also equally as recognisable. This is why the liveries are so important on these incredible catamarans, because otherwise you'd have a bit of a tough job knowing who they are and what they do, right?
I think it would definitely be quite a tough job for us, eh?
No, we do make an easy job look difficult though, in fairness. So we can just see them there turning around the, looks like it is what we designate Delta 1, Delta 2, potentially, going down the back straight of this circuit. It is a counterclockwise circuit, so it does make it ever so slightly more difficult for the pilots to navigate. They want to turn right, not left, and there's quite a few left turns here. But you can see 222 offshore, look like they're taking a bit of an early lead there, John.
You're quite right. Darren Nicholson, a former world and national sailing championship. He actually made the switch to powerboat racing back in 2013, and Giovanni Capitella, a seasoned racer, has been racing powerboats since 1993, winning multiple European championships, multiple speed records. It's definitely not over till it's over with those two guys.
No, they're pretty laid back, jovial characters in the paddock, I think it's fair to say. It's a family affair. Darren is here with his teenage son, who has a break from school at the moment, but has to go back next week, so misses our second event, unfortunately. But hey, them's the breaks, stay in school, kids. And as you say, Gio there, an extraordinarily experienced chap. He's here with his dad, who has a very good understanding of how to pair wine with cheese, as we found out as a commentary team yesterday. And I must say, if Italy, I didn't know Italy was so good at wine and cheese, that might have passed me by. But you can see there that the water is getting a little bit more choppy. You can see the swell there starting to build, which tells me that the wind is breaking suddenly. But Fazza, as they go through the timing line, as we see it from our commentary booth, are pretty flat. But it is 222 Offshore in the lead. Faza and Team GB, who have made an incredible start to this race. We've got Scott Williams and Martin Campbell there. We spoke to Martin on the pontoon, and as I said, they have been trying to avoid us all week, but we got them in the end. But they're quiet, unassuming, very nice, but very, very serious about what they do. And they did have that problem in qualifying, as I mentioned earlier in the programme. And Q8 Oils there. It's a shame. They are very, very quick, and I know they'll be disappointed about their first performance, but it's not over till it's over, is it, John?
Yeah, we're in just the second lap of the race, so everything can change. So just a quick reminder, in first position 222 Offshore with 3 minutes and 13 seconds, setting the pace for the rest of the pack. In number 2 we have Team Faza, number 3 Team GB, position 4 Console Brokers, number 5 HPI Racing Team, position 6 Team XCAT, and in 7th position Q8 Oils.
So, just as we focus on 222 Offshore, who are leading the race as it stands, and just a reminder, this could change completely. We have long laps to contend with, changes in setup, changes in swell, but you've got an awful lot that's already happened. The first two that are currently leading, the Fiumicino GP, the first race of 2 that we have in this beautiful seaside town. The first 2 have basically carried on as they left off in pole position. We have Team GB that have come from literally, it changes, and it's a really great advert for sport on the water.
You're quite right. Good old Gio and Darren were loving the choppy waters yesterday. Following the pole positions of yesterday, obviously we have 222 Offshore in first, remaining in first place. Team Faza also retaining the second position. A Team GB going up quite a lot, and Console Brokers losing that third position.
I know they'll be disappointed about that. You know, we spoke to them, we've spoken to everybody multiple times this week, but Team GB, rightly the focus of our cameramen at the moment, because they have been doing an extraordinary job to this point to go from absolutely back of the grid in 7th position to 3rd. We know they had a fast boat, they knew that they had a fast XCAT boat, but until the competition starts and until they're out there on the water, talk is just talk. But they've got themselves to a very, very strong position, and they're not going to settle for 3rd place. And I've got a feeling that this top 3 is going to change. It's the long laps, nobody has taken one yet, as far as I can see, and so it's looking fairly, well, yeah, because the long lap can't be taken yet.
That's it.
God, go back to XCAT school, Stu. I've lost all track of what's going on.
Actually, now as we've entered the third lap, apologies, the teams can choose to enter the long lap. As mentioned, it is mandatory for all teams to take at least 2 long laps by the 70% completion of the whole race. In case of complete failure of the long laps, this would lead to disqualification. And in case of partial failure of the long laps, that will probably mean either a penalty lap or time added onto their existing times.
And this is why each and every team has a manager who are left and right of us in terms of our commentary position, because can you imagine having to pilot these, throttle these, navigate the circuit, and then think about all of that as well? They are super reliant on their team managers, and it's a case of strategy, and you have to ask yourself, will Team Console Brokers, for example, decide to take their long lap early because they've had a less than satisfactory start to their race and head in and take the long lap early so that they can just make up time? And Team GB taking quite the risk there. You can see it's getting much choppier out there. Team GB getting quite a bit of air, and that shows that they are not taking it slowly, but they do have to be considerate of the weather.
Quick question, Stu. When you take some time to relax, what do you usually do? Have a cup of tea, watch some Netflix? What's your...
I mean, I have many pastimes. I'm quite a traditionalist. I like to walk my dog. I like to watch a little bit of rugby union. But I know where you're leading with this, and do you know what? I've got to say, what a beautiful segue. It's quite normal hobbies, I would say.
Well, guess what Scott Williams and Martin Campbell do to lay off some steam?
Please tell me.
Compete in XCAT.
Why not?
Why not? And we just received notification that QA Oils has entered the long lap.
Okay, so QA Oils have decided, and not that it matters what I think, but I think it's the right decision. They're not having the race of their lives at the moment. It could be anything. It could be the setup of the boat. It could be absolutely anything at all. The propeller choice, how much fuel they have on board. But they've decided to take that long lap right at the beginning of that window, and that is the right thing to do because it gets it out of the way, and then they can just concentrate on making up positions. And we're focusing there on console brokers because they are going to be going hell for leather to make that position up. They are a extraordinarily exciting pairing of Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti, and between the two of them they have an awful lot of experience in not just powerboats and not just being on the water and racing on the water and racing in XCAT, but they are also experienced in the world of sport and motorsport, with Luca Betti being an experienced rally driver as well. And there we see Shelly Gorilei, the team manager.
She's got
Team
her
GB.
thinking face on. I bet she's quite pleased with how her team is performing so far.
I think so. I would say so. And there she'll be looking for Scott and Martin, just seeing what those troublesome pair are doing. Those little scamps out there on the water. Because it's very important, of course, that she stays up to date with what's going on. It's very important for each and every team manager to know what is going on with the boats, but also to keep them informed. Once they're in that cockpit, John, they haven't got a rear view mirror, they haven't got a camera at the back. They need to be told just how many lengths behind, in front, to the side that the competition are. And it's so important, and they were telling us themselves, weren't they? It's so important how, and there we see.
Very interesting. So actually, team manager for XCAT, Josephine, who is on your screens right now, has decided that Team XCAT will enter the long lap, so have console brokers.
Interesting. Okay, well, we're now going to start seeing them come through thick and fast. It's a bit of a domino effect. So more and more teams in that middle pack have decided to take the long lap. They've obviously decided that now is the chance, now is the point to pounce on that long lap. They've got to take it. So it doesn't matter how they feel about it, they have to take it. And console brokerage. Just to give you an idea how they are lapping, you've got quite a few on the pace of their pole position. But those times will get quicker, in fact. So when you look at, just to give you an example, we have the fastest lap all the way down at 2:51. So you're looking at around about 15 seconds quicker than the fastest lap in pole position.
QA Oils has decided to actually do their second long lap, pretty much in succession. Teams can choose to either do it consecutively or separately. Definitely a strategic move. Got both of them out the way.
It's not a bad shout, you know. And we talked about this earlier. QA Oils not having the race they would have wanted at this stage, but they've got themselves to a position where they think, well, what have they got to lose? They may as well get it out of the way early and then head on to something else and hopefully make up some of the pace. And HPI Racing Team Italia, the two brothers, Rosario and Giuseppe, and we saw Dad earlier in the beanie hat calling the shots, didn't we?
Absolutely, good old Antonio. It's definitely a family affair with High Performance Italia. Currently in third position, they have not entered any of their long laps. So I guess they're trying to build a bit of a lead and then potentially choose to enter those.
I think that makes sense. They've got nothing to lose. They may as well get themselves up to that third position. If they build enough of a lead, then it could negate the amount of time that it takes to head through the long lap. So it makes sense to see what they're doing. These chaps have been in XCAT for a fair number of years. This is not their first rodeo by any stretch of the imagination. And they, I think a good call. But interestingly, if you're watching at home, what you're actually seeing is the first race of the season. I think I may have said that repeatedly because I'm very excited about the fact. But you're seeing teams with now starting to break into two different camps of strategy. Teams that may not have had the start that they wanted, taking their long laps early, getting them out of the way so they can concentrate on the remaining laps of the race. And other teams going, no, let's not do this. Let's build as much of a lead as we humanly can, and then when we start to take our long laps, we'll see where we end up.
I believe Team 222 Offshore, 222 Offshore, hasn't entered a long lap as of yet, so I guess they're doing exactly that.
Yeah.
Team XCAT, we've just been notified, has entered their second long lap. Got those out the way.
Interesting.
So just a quick reminder, in first place we have 222 Offshore, in second position Team GB, in third position High Performance Italia, in position 4 Console Brokers, in fifth position Team XCAT, in sixth position QA Oils, and last FASA. A bit surprising, eh?
Okay, so FASA are currently holding that final position. A reminder, they started in second. They were about 500th of a second ahead of third place, which at the time of the pole position race was Console Brokers. But FASA at the moment are last. Interesting. Now, is that a miscalculation? Have they fallen down the pack? Is there some sort of issue with the two Mercury ROS racing engines that power these XCAT machines? Well, we shall see. Or is it one big clever ruse? I mean, they are the legends after all.
Quite right, Stu. They're known as the legends for a reason. Nadir Behandi began back in the mid-90s with traditional wooden boating, moving to aquabikes and then winning world titles all the way to the early 2000s. Then switching to throttleman duties, which actually he found a lot more success being a throttleman. Arif, again, a very experienced individual, holds an unequaled win rate with 12 wins from 18 starts in Class 1.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? And they are very successful. We spoke to Nadir on the pontoon earlier, and he seemed quietly confident. He's a very confident chap, and you know, with good reason. They were the 2021 World Champions crowned in Dubai, of course. And we've just had notification that Team GB is coming in for their long lap, which is, I believe, their first long lap. Why not? So they are opting now to have their long lap. It's a second long lap.
It is their second.
Okay, wonderful job. So they're going to get that out of the way. Considering they've already had one long lap and they're now going for their second, they were holding second place. So it's starting to take shape. 222 Offshore, on the other hand, are off. They have decided to go ahead and chance their arm. You know, Darren's a pretty forthright and astute fellow. So I think between them and their manager back on shore, I'm sure they know what they're doing. But away they go. And just a quick mention. As you're watching, so I'll just interrupt myself there. HPR Racing coming in for a long lap there, it would appear.
And it's first one, it seems.
Yeah.
222 Offshore, will they choose to take their long lap?
They're going to have to take it soon, and it's not the first long lap that really is to think about. It's the second long lap, because every lap that you take, or every lap that you go around the circuit and you don't take a long lap, you're narrowing your window to take both. So you're going to, at some point, to make sure that you're not disqualified or to make sure that you don't get a penalty, you don't want to end up being the guy at the end taking two long laps in a row near the end of the Grand Prix. That is not what you need.
It does indeed seem quite risky. As mentioned, the long laps need to be taken from the third lap up until 70% completion rate. We are currently in lap 7, so it's going to happen soon.
Yeah, they are going to have to make a call. They're going to have to make a call at some stage. But I'm sure they have it all under control. control. But I'll tell you what it does do, it makes for a interesting setup. And we've just had like the fact that they've had a long lap previously and now they're entering their second. They shouldn't be so far down the running order. They've definitely got themselves into some sort of strife there.
There we go. 222 Offshore has entered their long lap, and we see Team GB making use of that.
This could be one for the books because you are watching the very first race of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship, and Team GB should pull into the lead, albeit because all the long laps are being taken and there are still a lot to be decided. They started last on the grid in the group after the pole position. They couldn't get out and do a qualifying lap for the pole position race. They had some gearing issues. Essentially a propeller flew off, which isn't good. And now it looks like from where we're standing, Team GB have gone from last to first. Now, will it finish like that? There's still an awful long way to go. And it looks like Faza, is that Faza pulling up? It is Faza pulling up. Now you can see there, their right-hand engine is still performing. You can see the rooster tail, but it looks like their left-hand engine, the second of those Mercury RS racing engines, looks like that was having a little bit of trouble, if total trouble.
Well, it seems like there's our explanation for them ending up in last place, some form of mechanical or technical issue. So, quick reminder, first position, Team GB. I think this is definitely a battle of the team managers between Team GB and 222 Offshore. Yeah?
They are teams, they're right next to each other in the paddock. Their containers are right next to each other, their teams are right next to each other. They actually get on very, very well.
They do indeed.
But it's a healthy rivalry. Yeah. But they look out for each other. I was saying on the pontoon that they do look out for each other. But the big talking point at this stage, after 8 laps, is that Faza, the team from Dubai, the legends, formerly Dubai Police, Arif and Nadir, look like they're going to give up because they've had engine trouble and they're going to come back into port. There's no sense in carrying on. What are they going to achieve? It's dangerous and they're not going to get any points. They're not going to get on the podium. They may as well come in and get the boat out of the water as soon as they humanly can and get the engineering team to have a look at it. And they have a wonderful engineering team on shore, as do all the teams, their supports and families on shore to give them a hand. So, Team GB currently in the lead, 222 Offshore, who have taken their long lap, are in second position. Still a great job to be in second position after a long lap. Then we have Consul Brokers in third position. We have that's Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti. They started the race in third position after the pole position racing yesterday. And HPI Italia moved up to fourth.
Consul Broker second one, although they are in third place at the moment. Do you think taking a long lap this late on in the race might cost them?
Well, there's still a number of long laps to be taken. So Offshore need to take one, GB need to take one. It's just hard to tell. I think it's going to be one of those let's just see until the end. If I was a betting man, which I am not, I wouldn't want to take my money and put it on any one of these individuals. We will start seeing though that the gaps are building up. So Team GB have built a long lead, a decent lead in front of 222 Offshore, but they are taking their second long lap now.
You're quite right. Consul Brokers have taken their just one lap. They'll probably make it up the pecking order. Surely they will still have to take their second long lap though, so it won't last for that long.
Absolutely, and please don't call me Shirley. But they are going to head up the podium, and we're seeing a couple of. This is where me and John have to read quickly. 222 Offshore are taking their long lap, and there has been a penalty issued to boat number 10 that they're going to have to take, and that looks like that's Offshore.
Ooh, it's getting exciting.
I'll tell you what, it's a long season, it's a long year, but right at the beginning here will make a huge difference. Now that penalty was for hitting a buoy, I believe. I think that's what it said. Boy E, so that is Echo. I'm going to have a little look at where that is on the race circuit. So that is the last corner, the last turn of the circuit. So it looks like they've taken a buoy as they were coming around there, which does give them potentially a material advantage in terms of well, they've just cut the racetrack essentially. they've taken a quicker line than everybody else, so that would give them an advantage. Something we'll have to look into and update everybody on later on in the race.
I do imagine the race officials may actually impose some form of time penalty onto that for hitting the buoy, though.
Yep, and they might even get themselves a fine as well, which nobody needs.
Actually, Team 222 Offshore have dropped considerably into 5th position. In 1st position, we have Team GB. They have indeed done all of their long laps. Team Console Brokers in 2nd place, still 1 long lap to go. Team HPI is currently in 3rd position, Team XCAT in 4th, 222 Offshore in 5th, QA Oils in 6th, and FASA in 7th.
FASA are out of the race, of course, with a mechanical issue on their left outboard Mercury ROS racing engine. A great shame, and I know they'll be disappointed, and hopefully we'll catch up with them later and offer commiseration. But as you say, it's the lineup is looking very, very different from how it started out this morning. You and I were like kids in a sweet shop, or should we say bambinos in a gelateria this morning, as we were super excited to see. I'm impressed with that one, to see for the racing to start. And do you know what? It hasn't disappointed. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe. If you're not, leave us a comment. Follow us on social media. Tell us how you're finding the racing. If is this your first time watching XCAT, is this your first time seeing a Console Brokers boat in 2nd position, share with us and we will share with you. Not quite sure yet what that might be. It might be a competition one day in the future, so make sure you share with us. You might even get it to go out on the pace cat, as my co-commentator John managed to do once upon a time in Dubai, which is the name of his island.
I must say, XCAT has been as impressive as your Italian.
Grazie mille. I've been practicing.
GB has retained their lead. Console Brokers still in 2nd. HPI Racing Team in 3rd. Team XCAT in 4th. 222 Offshore in 5th. And QA Oils in 6th. And obviously, good old FASA are out of the race.
Yeah, it looks like FASA have hobbled back into the harbour there. And as you've seen there, HPI Racing Italia there, HPI Performance Racing Italia, I should say, to give them their full title. They are from just down the coast, and HPI Italia, you can buy and service your boats and engines from those guys. A lot of the teams here have a huge, as you can imagine, background in marine. And this is a great way for them to show that they know what they're talking about, but also to do what they love most, which is being out on the water.
I think if I had a boat, I would definitely take it to Giuseppe and Rosario, purely for the entertainment value and just to have a little bit of a chin wag.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely enjoy a chit chat, and they're lovely fellas as well. So yeah, riding the number 96 there is HPI Italia. And there's something I want to just, as a viewer, just share with you. You can see there when the boat is against the horizon, it looks fast, but if you're watching, make sure that you keep an eye on how fast they look up against the shore. That's when you can really see that they are travelling at quite literally the rate of knots. And so, as we see HPI going round the buoy, see if it is Echo 1, which is our code for the last turning, and we are making quite the effort to look out of our commentary window here and see what's actually going on. Just to give you an idea of Fiumicino, just while we're watching XCAT there, of Sebastian Grotta and Sven Janssen, two lovely fellows, as they head around the circuit there. Fiumicino, we've got quite a large crowd that are gathered on the beach, a mixture of locals and tourists, no doubt. I'm not paid by the local tourist board, but if I was, I would say, come here. If I wasn't, which I'm not, you should still come here. It is a lovely place to be. There's some lovely cafes and bars along the coast, and today, powerboats as well, so nothing to miss there. Directly out of our commentary booth, we can see a group of chaps enjoying some kiki up football on the beach as well. I wonder if they're Napoli fans, as Consul Brokers are. And Consul Brokers are finding themselves in second place. They need to go one better to match Napoli, who should go on and win the Scudetto today if they haven't already. But they were celebrating on the pontoon just as we went live, which was not distracting in the slightest, chaps.
That would be lovely for them, I guess, eh? Their team wins the Serie A and then they win the first race for the 2023 season.
That would be quite the serendipitous results. Easy for me to see with my fake teeth in. At the moment, Napoli are drawing. So they are, maybe that would be quite lovely. Napoli going on and winning the Serie A, the Scudetto, the Italian football championship, and Napoli football team going on and winning their first Scudetto for 33 years. Last man was in the team, Diego Maradona.
And guess what? If you Google Alfredo Amato, you'll see a picture of him and Diego Maradona.
Yes, 2015, XCAT of the XCAT branding on Diego Maradona, the late great Diego Maradona, one of the best, if not the best, footballer to grace the pitches. Tell us in the comments if you agree. I am, of course, correct. So we are just heading back there. You can see just how far the racecourse and the circuit is out to sea, but it's actually much closer to land than other formats of offshore racing, which is lovely from a spectator's perspective. And then we see the boat of 222 Offshore, distinguishable of course because they have Rocco Barocco written on the side, a lovely fashion house. I believe they are Italian, like most good fashion houses, and I'm not saying that because I'm in Italy and I want to be able to escape with my life, but it is distinctive and they look great in and out of it. And they said they look good and that they are comfortable, which is important. But they are not doing so well, are they, John?
You are right, they're in 5th place. They were keeping the lead for quite a while. Perhaps the decision to take the long laps further along the race cost them.
Yeah, it looks like it does look like that their strategy is kind of coming back to bite them. We do often talk about these XCATs having claws, and that's not just with everybody else, that sometimes gets turned on themselves. We see Team GB really catching a swell there. We are looking out here and we're seeing the wind picking up ever so slightly, but what we want to make sure we avoid is a situation where the front of the boat and the back of the boat swap position, because that is the very last thing that we want to see. However, the map,
they are number 1.
Number 1. From last to first. Now there is still a decent amount of time left to go. As I make it, 6 laps still to go, and that means that anything could change. But Team GB running an interesting setup. They've got, like I say, quite a few changes to their Mercury engine. They've had a few. They are lapping their competitors. If they're Team GB riding alongside QA Oils,
just waving past QA.
Well, the same race. They are literally in a different race. QA are at the back, some distance behind. Team GB are so fast they are now catching the back of the pack. Something that we would more traditionally see in motorsport with 2 or 4 wheels. We're seeing that out there on the waters just outside of Rome, not in the Mediterranean Ocean, but is it the Tyrrhenian that our colleague told me this morning? So it looks like I've been wrong all these years, but don't worry. We will make sure that we keep you well informed as to what body of water you are looking at. But it is essentially a fourth part of the Mediterranean Ocean. But they have made good use of the choppy conditions. Some of the drivers prefer choppy conditions. Some of the drivers prefer flat conditions. Faza, for example, do really well in flat conditions. And 222, not today, but 222 Offshore prefer choppy conditions, and so do Team GB. Maybe that's a reflection on the geography of where they come from. Martin and Scott from the Wirral, which is the Liverpool area of the United Kingdom. I wonder if they're Liverpool fans or Everton fans. Just trying to keep up with the pace and do the best that they can. And Consul Brokers there. So now Consul Brokers are starting to gain on QA Oils, which makes sense because they are right behind Team GB in 2nd place. So they are looking to, and will soon no doubt, lap QA Oils which is a shame for Q8 Oils. But we do have a second pole position headed to the May Day holiday on Monday.
You are quite right, Stu. On Monday, the 1st of May, on May Day, we'll be having official practice at 10:30 local time. The race for pole position 2 will be at 12 o'clock local time, and then race 2 will begin at 3:30.
Wonderful job. So it's a very packed day on May Day. If you're local to Fiumicino, if you're living local, even if you don't, make the journey, come down and watch the racing. If you're watching it at home, then make sure that you do set the little notification, the bell for YouTube, Instagram. The links are shared everywhere. Make sure that you do tune in and watch. It will be one of the best things that you see all day. So we are starting to reach the later segments of this. Forgot how to speak English there for a second. It's the excitement. We're at lap 13, so we've got a few laps left to go, and we've got probably 4 laps left to go. But the real question is where we're going to end up having the final positions. So at the moment it's Team GB, followed by Console Brokers, followed by XCAT that have moved up to 3rd position. Seb there, lovely guy behind the wheel, doing a great job. Followed by HPI Racing Team in 4th position, 222 Offshore in 5th position, and then Q8 out of the race with a engineering issue, with a mechanical issue that have rendered one of their outboards inoperable. I'm assuming it just looked like that from here. So still a little way to go. The teams that are holding the podium positions probably starting to feel slightly more confident, eh?
You are quite right. If you were late to watch our the first race, I would like to let you know that obviously the season is quite long. We will be having another event in Marina di Bisticci on the 5th of May till the 7th. We will be having another event in Constanta, Romania on the June 16th until June 18th. An event in Varna, Bulgaria on June 23rd till the June 25th.
Yeah.
And then the final one in Dubai on December 8th.
What a party to end the entire thing. Yes, as you say, the championship is long. I bet it feels short by the time we get to the end of the year. But we've got Console Brokers. Sorry, I just cut myself off. Console Brokers are going to run their second long lap. So this could, I mean, they've got a decent lead, a 42-second lead on XCAT behind them. So they probably will retain that second place. They've managed to build up quite the lead, but they're going to come in for that lap and see how we do. But yeah, just to follow on your point, it is a long but a short season at the same time. We have a fair few destinations. As we say, we have another pole position race tomorrow and another race tomorrow, and then we pack up the entire circus into the sustainability crates, all the crates that transport this incredible XCAT series around the world. We don't have to go too far, 6 hours down the road to the beautiful territory of Basilicata. And if you don't know any of the areas in Basilicata, you've got Puglia is one of the main cities in Basilicata. We are going to Pistici, the Marina di Pistici, where we're going to be driving out to, well, I think you and I, it'll be Console Brokers.
You are quite right. Obviously, Console Brokers, helmed by Alfredo Amato. Alfredo is also the president of Opta, who had a
10 euros if you can tell me what that stands for.
Well, Opta did, obviously Alfredo had an instrumental role in organizing everything. Obviously they sit on the Drivers Association, eh?
They do. Opta making sure that everybody is represented, essentially. So Alfredo Amato, hugely influential in the world of powerboats, but a keen enthusiast behind the wheel, or certainly behind the throttle. But there we see 222 Offshore, Rocco Barocco there, painted on the side, and it looks like they've got. What is that on the side there? Is that a bit of buoy? It looks, yeah, it looks like that's the buoy that they picked up on the way that has led to that penalty potentially. So
Darren's taking it home back to Australia, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Darren, who travels around with multiple classes He's here this week and next week in Italy with us, which is lovely, and then he jets off to the US of A to continue competing. But he'll be back for the third round in Constanța, in the beautiful town in Romania on the Black Sea coast. We actually have the president of the Romanian Federation here today, who will be awarding some of the trophies at the end of this race.
And it
Which
seems
is
like
beautiful.
Faza is making their way out once more.
It does, doesn't it? So Faza look to have repaired their issue, potentially, and at this early stage of the season, bearing in mind there was quite a big gap between the last event of the year in 2022 in Fujairah and the start of this championship, just getting some nautical miles under your belt is a good excuse to get your boat fixed and get it back out there, because whilst they are 5 laps behind, so they're not going to make that up, but they're going to get some vital running time. And not only that, testing, this is a great opportunity to test before they go out for the pole position race tomorrow. So they're almost going to be treating this as a practice run. And hopefully they won't get in the way. I'm sure they won't. They are professionals to the last degree. And we see a little bit of a battle there between Q8 Oils and XCAT. So I'd say it's less of a battle and more of a lapping, because XCAT are running in third, and so Q8 Oils will have moved over to the right hand side to allow XCAT to come through without any kind of issue at all there. And we can see XCAT have now just taken the lead as they go through. The timing boys there, Tango 1, Tango 2, and Console Brokers are now in third position. So XCAT did take advantage of the fact that Console Brokers were going through their second long lap, and now we have XCAT in second. So we have Team GB in first,
XCAT in second,
Console Brokers in third,
HPI Racing Team in fourth,
bringing up in fifth,
222 Offshore,
and then bringing up the rear Q8 Oils and Faza, who have decided to come out there. And for fans of 90s pop shows, we thought we'd pay homage there with a little rundown. Unfortunately, DJs we are not. So this first race of the year has been extraordinary to this point. We are on lap 15, we only have a couple to go, and we're going to be able to name our very first winners of the year. And we can see out of our commentary booth.
Good. We can see Shelley.
We can see Shelley with her binoculars looking there, with good reason. Team GB have gone from last, didn't even manage to place a fastest time in the pole position race, and now they've got themselves to first position. It really is quite the exciting setup. I am beside myself. I can't wait to hand the prizes out later.
What do you think? Shelley's gonna buy the boys a beer?
Yeah, I think probably. I think the boys should be buying us all beers. But it looks like the Pasquale, who is one of the key drivers of this championship, is at the not the helm of the pace cat, but he's on the pace cat. He's got his flags, and he is the one that's going to call the winner, which is why he's there on the start finish. I'm trying to see if I can see my house from that shot, but you can't because I don't.
So is it? It seems like Pasquale was holding the checkered flag.
Wow, and as we know, the checkered flag ended the race. Getting a bit of air there. Looks like Team GB.
Team GB.
It is Team GB. Scott and Martin there.
They're making their way.
There we go. So we see the white flag there as they're starting their penultimate lap, which is not a bad place to be. First place as they go through the timing lap, and we're going to see XCAT come through in second if it hasn't changed. And this is where I go from being an observer to a fan. About to come through the timing boys of Tango 1 and Tango 2, Tango 1 I should say, followed remarkably closely by Console Brokers. That is very, very tight. So we've got our top three as we head through the white flag lap. Fourth, HPI Racing Italia. That's not a bad result from them. They were fourth in the pole race, and then subsequently we found the trackers and the timing. They were popped down to fifth, and I think they'll be happy with fourth. Well, they won't. Let's be honest. They'll be happy with first, but they found themselves in fourth, so they've gained a position, which is not the worst thing in the world. But we're focusing there on Team GB, which is our pace setters at the moment. They are currently in first place. They've had all sorts of mechanical issues, all of which outside of their control. but they have arrived here and they are in first place, which is unbelievable, isn't it, John?
Yeah, you're quite right. We did have a little chat with Martin and Shelley yesterday. Martin didn't seem a little bit distraught that he didn't manage to actually get out on the water, but they managed to pull it out the bag today. Obviously, the mechanics did a great job.
Yeah, incredible job on shore. We spoke to Martin on the pontoon before we started, just to see how he was feeling, and he sounded confident, but they're never too confident. The race isn't over until it's over, and we're focusing there. They're coming around the second to last corner by the looks of it, and so they're on the second to last straight. The next thing they're going to do is head around Echo 1, and head through the final straight. They look like they've pulled off the throttle ever so slightly there. That back straight looks like it's getting the brunt of the weather, the brunt of the wind, and I can see them from where I am just about to take the final left turn before they head on the straight towards the Pace Cat. And there is a flurry of flags on the Pace Cat now, and they're getting ready. And you can see just in the background there's no better way of seeing how fast these XCATs are going, but you compare them to how fast the land is going past, which is the best way of doing it.
Oh, and good old Shelley is looking super excited, jumping up and down as Team GB are about to cross the finishing line.
They're on the final straight. It looks like they're going to take the win. And they have the very first winner of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship is Team GB. A massive congratulations, going from last to first. What a massive achievement, a very well done to them. And we're going to see who's coming through in second place now. And it looks like it's going to be, it is XCAT, the team from Sweden. Sebastian and Sven there, a massive well done to them.
Very good
and
results.
In the third place, we have console brokers Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti taking the third place. Shelley happy there, double thumbs up. And
Congratulating each other, no hard feelings, just healthy competition.
that we know of, but they are tough competitors, but you're absolutely right. Once it's all done and they're on shore, they are the best of friends. And there we see the hatch is open for Team GB. In there is Scott and Martin. Well done to our first winners of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. I'm going to have a little lie down, I think, but I can't because I've got to work. But this is an incredible achievement for the team. A massive well done.
So I imagine Pasquale will be handing the checkered flag to Scott and Martin. They seem quite chuffed in there. I see some hands moving about. Probably.
Make sure that you do stay with us because we're going to take you all the way through the process. We're going to take you all the way through to the podium and the celebrations that will be on the podium. I'm sure the celebrations on the podium will be huge. Flag still flying there. That's 222 offshore coming in. Bit disappointing for them, I imagine. They did start in pole position after a great qualifying yesterday, but today they finish in 5th. So, the rundown. We have Team GB from last to first. XCAT from 4th to 2nd. I'm going to do quick maths here. Console brokers, they finish as they started, but a huge achievement for them. So well done, Alfredo and Luca. HPR Racing Team, they also make up a position and finish in 4th. Rosario and Giuseppe doing incredibly well there. 222 offshore, finishing in 5th position. They did, in fact, start the afternoon in 1st, but I'm sure they'll dust themselves off and start again. Q8 Oils finishing in 6th, and Fazza, who had that mechanical issue, have got themselves back out, presumably to get some nautical miles under their belt, and finish in the 7th and final position. So a massive well done to each and every one of the competitors, and thank you very much for watching at home. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in and sharing this with us. What is going to be a fantastic season ahead, but this program is not finished yet. Make sure you stay on board because we're going to show you the podium and we're going to show you those gentlemen there, Martin and Scott, getting their trophy from some very important people. In fact, Dr. Raffaele Culi is going to be presenting one of the awards today. And there we see, looks like Martin.
Should be Martin, yeah.
It is Martin crawling out the top there, and he's going to be receiving the checkered flag from, actually I think Dr. Culi may be on the Pace Cat. And now comes a rather ominous bit where they're going to have to figure out how they transfer the checkered flag
without
to
a-
each other. Wonderful to see, wonderful to see. And there you see Scott emerging there as well. What a catch. Well done, Martin. That was a cracking catch. Easily done for some. Unravelling there. Fists go up. All good.
Big congrats to Scott and Martin. Big congrats.
Yeah, every team out here works extraordinarily hard, and it's hard for us. And all of us get to spend a long time with each other in close quarters, like any racing series anywhere in the world. But the feeling that we get from these guys is incredible. Each and every one of the competitors out there that took part in the first race of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship, all of them are deserving winners, and some of them are past champions, and some of them, I'm sure, will be future champions. And it could well be Team GB that end up being those champions. And there we see Martin aloft.
And it seems like Scott is doing both driver and throttleman duties at the same time.
Well, I mean, they're not having to concentrate at high speed, are they? They're now probably having to reduce their speed down to the 5 knots that is required as they head back into shore. And it really is a huge, huge well done from everybody here. You can see incredible footage there from the drone just overhead. And they're going to be popping back into the harbour now. And make sure you stay with us. I'm going to have to hot tail it down to the podium at some stage and have a chat with them, as well as talking everybody through the podium. So there's going to be 2 podium presentations. Just so you're aware, they're going to be prizes awarded for the pole position race that happened yesterday. So 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And then also we're going to have 1st, 2nd and 3rd awarded here as well for the first race of the championship. And if you're feeling disappointed that you're going to have to wait a while, well, you're not, because there's going to be another set of racing tomorrow. So this is really fantastic stuff. So as Team GB come into the Porto de Fiumicino, I love the Italian language.
You love saying that.
I love saying it. It took me long enough to well, I'm probably still butchering it, to be honest, but it took me long enough to get to it. And they're going to be heading down into back onto the pontoon where they started, where we had a chat with them. And then we're going to be heading up to have a chat with them and see how we got on. So, wonderful job, absolutely incredible. And we're focusing on the first winner. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, first of all, thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you do subscribe, hit the bell, notify you for the next pole position race and the next race of the championship, which is tomorrow, May Day. We're all off, so you've got no excuse. You should be watching. And it will be one of the best things. If it is anything like this first race, whew, we're in for a treat.
Absolutely. So just a quick reminder, official practice will take place at 10:30 local time. The pole position race will take place at 12 o'clock. And the race 2 will begin at 3:30 local time. Team GB making their victory lap back to the XCAT pontoon. I'm sure Shelley will be waiting there with open arms.
Well, we've just seen a shoot past they're on bikes, pedal bikes, and she's just shot past us on our commentary booth, which is fantastic. In fact, we're seeing quite a few people shooting past our commentary booth, which is normally my cue to go and head back to the commentary, to the podium. So make sure you do stay tuned if you want to see the drivers close up. It's well worth it. Just to see the smiles on the faces of the podium sitters, it is infectious. So thank you very much for watching the race with us. Stay tuned, do not switch off no matter what you do, because we still have a little bit more to bring you.
antena? Hai vinto? La bandiera? Tu puoi staccare il microfono. Fare una ripresa a lui che stava scendendo, come cazzo si fa?
Perché comunque so che
Odio finalmente. Quanto manca? Quanto manca?
73.
Grazie, grazie. No, vabbè, sei un mostro. Perfetti, perfetti. Bravo.
Forse oggi potevano ambire.
No, ma non hai capito? Non ci parlavamo, per cui io diceva fare long lap, lo controllavo, io ero molto più veloce di loro. Lo controllavo, dico, no, fare long lap. Mi ha passato perché abbiamo in un giro abbiamo acchiappato 2 onde di 2 metri, siamo letteralmente volati, praticamente abbiamo cagato tutto che atterravamo male, per cui siamo praticamente quasi fermati e in quel giro abbiamo perso tutto. Loro avevano fatto il long lap, per cui mi sono trovati avanti, però non parlavamo con terra perché si tutto il telefono dopo mezzo giro, per cui io ero convinto che dobbiamo fare il long lap.
Mi devi pagare un pranzo.
Dai, vattene.
Questa fase
Dimmi se c'è tutto, Sebi, perché ho fatto io una
Dai, pole position. Ok, they are starting now. Ora chiamano. Go. Sento io.
Fammi segno.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. This is the first round of the Italian Grand Prix Fiumicino award prize-giving ceremony. We are here to celebrate the incredible achievements of our pole position 1 and race 1 winners, including some special guests. Before we begin, let's give a round of applause to all the teams who participated in this thrilling race. It was a tough competition and every team gave their best to secure a place on the podium. Now, let's welcome our esteemed guests to the stage. First of all, Dr. Raffaele Culi, UIM President. Second to the stage, Alexandru Octavian Micu, President of the Romanian Yachting Federation. Third to the stage, Nikolai Rylander, President of the Norwegian Powerboat Federation. And finally, Armando Fortini, President of the Lega Navale Fiumicino. And without further ado, let's announce the winners of the first pole position race of 2023. In third place, we have boat number 2022 from Italy, Consul Brokers, Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti. In second place, we have boat number 3 from the UAE, boat Faza of Arif Al Safain and Nadir bin Hendi. And finally, the team that secured the top spot on the starting grid is boat number 10, 222 Offshore of Giovanni Capitella and Darren Nicholson. Congratulations, now we can award the trophies to our pole position top 3. Congratulations, well done. Big round of applause. Faza awarded there. Congratulations, well done. Strong second place. And our pole position winners once again, 222 Offshore, presented by Dr. Raffaele Culi, the UIM President. And if we can ask everybody just to pose for a photo, that would be wonderful. Good. Thank you very much, everybody. Another round of applause for our pole position sitters there, the first of 2023. Well done, well done. Now we move on to some special awards. This award, or the set of awards, are for setting a new distance record. Awarded to the boat Tommy 1. If we can have Maurizio Scepici and Mario Petroni.
No, Scepici.
Scepici. Nearly. Awarded by Dr. Raffaele Culi. A massive well done. A round of applause there for the crew of Tommy 1.
Io volevo ringraziare questi due straordinari piloti che hanno reso onore al nostro paese, al nostro sport e soprattutto hai onorato la città di Fiumicino che merita questo importantissimo riconoscimento. Quindi siamo orgogliosi di essere qui oggi, siamo orgogliosi che la motonautica è ritornata ad altissimo livello qui a Fiumicino e siamo sicuri che non sarà l'ultima volta. Ma soprattutto un grazie a tutti voi che col vostro calore, col vostro entusiasmo, la vostra passione avete reso questo evento ancora più straordinario. Grazie di cuore.
Andiamo giù?
pose for photos. Wonderful job.
Grazie.
Well done, everybody. To the small business of today's first race of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. Put your hands together. In third place, from Italy, Consul Brokers, who have gone walkabout. There we go. Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti. Provisional third place. Many congratulations. In second place, from Sweden, we have XCAT. Sebastian Grotter, Sven Jansen, come up onto the podium. Massive congratulations, well done, fantastic race. And finally, from last to first place, XCAT World Championship, all the way from Great Britain, Team GB. Welcome to the podium, Martin Campbell, Scott Williams, taking pride of place, and we also have the prize for the best team manager, which goes to Shelley Jory Lee. A massive congratulations. Now we get to hand the prizes out. Third place, well done, Consul Brokers. Second place, XCAT. And our first provisional winners of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship, Team GB. And finally, for team manager, Shelley Jory Lee, for being the best team manager of the day. Congratulations, everybody. Big round of applause. We now take a photo and pause for the national anthem. Thank you very much. Well done to all of our winners. Thank you, all of you. Don't run away. There is a photo that needs to be had. Congratulations to each and every one. Well done, everybody. Great job. A big round of applause for all of today's winners and all of today's participants. I'm sure you'll all agree there were some exceptional skills on show. To conclude, thank you very much. And make sure you tune in And make sure you arrive tomorrow where we will have another pole position race and another race of this 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. Thank you very much.
Dov'è?